Salute, Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Welcome into another live stream tonight. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Shout out to the chat. Shout out Replay Squad. I'm on the road, if you're wondering. Like I said last episode, I'm traveling, visiting family, but Knicks Nation all day, every day. Let's talk about the latest news, and that is the New York Knicks conducted a workout. Omer Yurtseven was one of them, among other players as well. We'll talk about that tonight. What's up, the latest with the center, big rotation as well. Jalen Brunson became a father. Monica McNutt got married. We're going to talk about Jericho Sims as well. His contract has been guaranteed fully now. So it looks like Jericho Sims will be here for the season. And we'll talk about the schedule drop as well. Q&A tonight with the live chat. It'll be a shorter stream tonight for obvious reasons, but we're here. Welcome in, and it's great to be with you. Guys, salute. We're getting closer to training camp. We're getting closer to the start of this season. It's going to be a big one. We're hyped, and it's the quiet part of the off season right now. But the New York Knicks are still doing work, right? Leaving no stone unturned. Welcome in, Brian, in the chat. How are you feeling? Hope you're doing well. Prezi, always up in here. Great to see you as well. What's buzzing, cousin? I'm well. Like I said, I'll be back in my city this time next week, so another week on the road. But anything breaks, and we are always here to talk about it. And tonight is no different, right? So the biggest news that's hit since we last spoke and the schedule drop was that the New York Knicks, reported by Mark Stein, had worked out one of the bigs that we've been talking about for a minute now, right? Omer Yurtseven. He was waived by Utah. He's had a stint in Miami as well. 7-footer, 6'11". Hadn't been able to stick in Utah, right? But I don't think he was the traditional big man that the Knicks tend to, to gravitate towards. But he can block shots. He's a big presence as well. He's got the size. And the Knicks did their due diligence, like they always do. They leave no stone unturned, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But Mark Stein reported in his Substack newsletter, the Knicks recently auditioned big man free agent Omer Yurtseven, among others, but did not elect to sign him. Now, that looks to me as though, and what I've been seeing and observing is that the Knicks like who they have. I think they do understand, and we all know that the center position is no doubt the weakest in the roster, and hence they're doing these workouts and doing their due diligence. But clearly they didn't see something or enough. They didn't see enough that they liked from him to sign him right away. Now, things can change in the future. This is a fluid situation. They're obviously working out more guys as well. Maybe they go back to the well with Omer Yurtseven. However, but for now, the New York Knicks feel like they're good in terms of not signing him to a deal. We'll see if he ends up, in Europe, like that report suggests. But I want to get your thoughts on that, guys, as well. Um, among others, who would you like to see the Knicks work out and come in? And are you surprised that, they took a look at Yurtseven and they didn't sign him? Now, obviously, more depth is better than not, but you don't just sign guys for the sake of it. They have to do what you want them to do, and like I said, I think Tibbs centers. He loves them rough and rugged, rebounders. Physicality. Yurtseven, not the best in that category, but obviously he can protect the hoop. He would be nice depth. We'll see. Among others, we'll talk about who else they may have worked out. There's no names so far that I've seen linked to that workout specifically, but it's good to see that they are still doing their due diligence and leaving no stone unturned. Um, Brian says, smash those like buttons. Appreciate you. Welcome in if you're new. Like and subscribe. More Knicks buzz. And we've all got the streets buzzing. Right. We move on, says Prezi. Um, just let Deuce get loose. Unleash the Jumpman Sims. We'll have this year. Deuce will, now that he's healthy. Yep. Yeah, I like Deuce. I think he's going to be a huge part of this rotation. But the big man situation, Daniel, what's up? Susan, Walter, Vaughn, Bing Bong. I'll get through all your questions and comments. Best believe that. And shout out to Replay Squad as well. Thanks for joining us tonight on a late night live stream. I'm on the road traveling as well. Otherwise, I would have come on a lot earlier. So apologies for that, but glad you could catch me anyway. Uh, um, yeah, so Yurtseven provides some vet experience. He's obviously been around the NBA, and the Knicks were lured to that. But the workout, obviously they didn't see what they needed to see in order to sign him right away. I mean, dare I say, if he had blown the work, if he had hit the workout out of the park and he had balled out, they probably would have signed him right then and there. So right now, our center situation isn't as bad as some people make out to be. Like I said, the Knicks know it's clearly the weakest area of the roster right now. Mitch, is he going to start the season fully healthy? We'll have to get closer to camp, I think, to find out a lot more. Obviously, guys are, in and out of their cities, working out with their own trainers as well. But when everybody gets together with a facility and the Knicks beat reporters and media, we'll be able to get more interviews and more insight, obviously, after media day as well. But um, as I said, the Knicks don't leave any stone unturned, right? And if there is a move that needs to be had, they'll do it. But they won't sign anybody just for the sake of it. So right now we have about four bodies at center, at traditional center, not including OG or Randall. Obviously, that is up in the air as to how much Tibbs would like to play some small ball. But with Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achua, Jericho Sims, and Ariel Hukpority on the two-way, that's four guys right there. So I think the Knicks like what they have. Start the season. We'll see if they add another big with the one lone roster spot remaining. All of the two ways are signed up right now as well. So everything that I'm hearing and seeing, the Knicks like who they have, but they do understand that that is an area that can be upgraded. There's no doubt about it. But guaranteeing Jericho Sims's contract, and giving him the benefit of the doubt, I think that is a good way to play out in camp. Obviously, Ariel Hukpority is a new face as well. And as we see here, Michael Scotto first reported is that Jericho Sims will have his $2 million salary fully guaranteed for the upcoming season. Right, so he spent the last 3 years in New York after being selected by the Knicks at the 58th spot. So big year ahead. I've talked about this a lot, guys. Jericho Sims is approaching the final year of his contract, right? And this is a big year. The Knicks have a need at the center position, right? There is a opportunity, right? Right. There is a reward and opportunity that lies ahead for Jericho Sims if he has a great year, right? He could earn himself a nice contract and show that he's a player to keep for the future. But the New York Knicks are still doing what they need to do. They're working out other veteran big men. Um, could Bismack Biyombo be part of that workout? That'll be interesting to find out if any names do leak. But as of now, we don't know who else was a part of that workout. But I'm guessing there will be some other bigs as well. Now, another name that people have been asking about, Dimitro Skapantsev, a big that's been in New York system at Westchester for a couple of years now. Played really well at Summer League. Now Skapantsev is looks to be still available, but he has posted this workout on his Insta, and that he's at the Portland facility as well. So we'll wait to see if the Knicks do, try to get him into camp for an invite. Let us know what you think. Um, Appreciate you, Susan. I'm always here for the updates. Definitely great to see you. Bing Bong says Knicks screwed this up, and here's why. Scap looked good, and they didn't sign him. Knicks going back to the 2000s, says Bing Bong. I think, like I said, I think the Knicks feel good about who they have, but they're definitely looking to make an upgrade where they can. Now, with that said, to sign a guy, they have to feel like they're better than who they have, and they're fully guaranteed Jericho's contract now. They have Ariel Hukpority, who they've signed to a two-way as well. Those are Tibbs kind of guys because they rebound as well. Um, and here's what I tweeted out recently. I said, the Knicks are constantly leaving no stone unturned. A lot of these workouts and due diligence that the Knicks do don't get reported. Sometimes it leaks out, sometimes it does not, but they're always in the lab trying to improve the squad as well. So keep the faith. Um, it is a regular occurrence. The Knicks did work out Jarrett Culver earlier in the off season. I'm sure there's been so many more workouts that haven't been reported as well. The reason they haven't signed anyone, as I go back to what I said in the beginning, is that they clearly didn't see something that they didn't like enough to spend their money on these guys as well. We are closer to the apron, but they will continue to do that. I think they will look at other bigs. Now, there is a couple of French bigs. Gershon Yabusele is signed now with Philly, our rival, right? A lot of people have weighed in on that. Give us your thoughts in the comment section in the chat now. Philly getting Yabusele, right? He's a power forward, but he gives them a bit of depth. The Knicks could have expressed interest in that, but I haven't heard anything. Also, they did express interest in the other French big, which was the other 6'9" player, Matthias Lassort, who had himself a great Olympics as well. But the New York Knicks, like I said, have got money weighed in into some players that they have, and they feel like it wasn't necessary, right? We'll hear from Scott Perry, who just tweeted this out as well. When he was a coach, was constantly reminding my team of three key things they need to do: rebound, defend, share the ball. It starts with defense. Two underrated defenders he likes to watch: Aaron Gordon and Deuce Miles McBride as well. So Scott Perry still showing love to his former team, but letting everyone know what he looks at as keys. But Deuce McBride also, defensively. Um, as we'll get your thoughts on it, guys. Get your comments in the chat and smash that like button. Congrats to Monica McNutt as well. It's been a huge off season in Knicks land. Monica McNutt has gotten married, and congratulations to her and her partner. And that is a great bit of news that have come through. But surprise for me is I didn't realize, but congrats to Jalen Brunson, the captain, and his wife Allie on the birth of Jordan James Brunson, right? So the family is growing, right? Many, many blessings, and what an off season it has been for Jalen Brunson. Like I said, uh, Adrian Woj reported that the Yabusele 1 year veteran minimum deal with Philly, right? So Philly get a little bit more depth, but he's not a needle mover for me right now. And we'll see what the Knicks do with this power forward situation as well. I like Keita Bates-Diop. Precious Achua can play some four, obviously, but you don't really want to take him away from our main center depth at the backup spot as well, right? But could the Knicks have missed out on Scap? Like Big Bong said, Skapensev is a guy that looked really impressive in summer league, and he's a guy that I absolutely wanted us to bring into a training camp. We'll see. Susan says, I think that the Knicks are going to use Randall, OG, to play center position without actually putting up as center. If others can fill the gap, right, until Mitchell Robinson's full return, and then the real trading card comes as the season goes along. Yeah, I think the Knicks look like they're more inclined to do that, run it into the season and see what happens. But obviously, if Mitch isn't healthy to start the season, I probably feel pretty sure that they'll sign another veteran center just to hold us down until the actual trade season begins. So that's my thoughts. I think if Mitch is healthy, they'll run it into the season the way we have. But right now, it is a little tricky. One more injury. We have some depth, but guys that, Precious isn't a traditional center. Jericho's inconsistent, if we're calling it a bean. And also Ariel Hukpority is an unknown, right? I'm very high on him, but we need to see him in action. Prezi says they have Sims in the gym with 4 coaches. Why would they put so much of a focus on a player that they gave up on? It could be to build his trade value, but you can imagine him becoming an asset. Yeah, yeah. I've talked about contractually. You always look at for a player's standing with the Knicks. You look at contractually. Are they going to guarantee his deal? Are they going to extend him? Are they going to get him minutes early in preseason to see what it's all about? But yeah, Jericho Sims, this is make or break, definitely for this season. And we'll see what happens with Jericho, right? He could have a really good year, but he needs to become more consistent. And he's certainly not a very big center in terms of what Tibbs likes long term, I feel. 6'10, very athletic, good rebounder. But in terms of protecting the rim, drop coverage, I think, there is a lot of improvement that does need to be made. What's up, John? John says, I hope we keep working out centers only. I wouldn't waste a spot on Archie. We are all set up at guard. Yeah, great comment. I agree with you 100%. I think the focus should be on someone who can play the 4 and the 5, or just the 5, either or. But definitely, the Knicks look like they're doing their due diligence, which is, I'm glad. I'm glad that we are working out these guys. Obviously, none of us are in the gym to see that workout with Omer Yurtseven. But if you look at it like this, he's been let go by Miami, or he didn't stick in Miami. He wasn't able to stick in Utah. We worked him out, and we, decided not to sign him. Right? There's a pattern there, and it looks like that. He needs to do more to convince a team, I think. Now, if we didn't have Precious or Mitch, we probably definitely would be a little bit more desperate, but as I've talked about on many shows previously, guys, the New York Knicks are acting like a very smart organization. They're not acting like they're desperate, because we're not, you know. Yes, it is the weakest part of our roster, but I don't think we should be acting like we're desperate. Um, but Leon Rose, I do trust the front office, and I've trust that these guys will upgrade the center position depth wise, whether that's Mitch still starting and you get in a more proven backup, or, you get a bigger name in who can start as well, and you can keep Mitch fresh off the bench. Let us know your preference, guys. We'll shout it out. Vaughn says, whatever big is acquired must be able to guard the pick and roll and switch out onto the perimeter players. Otherwise, teams with stretch fives will give us issues as usual. Yeah, there is a couple key matchups that I think can give the Knicks some problems. Obviously, with Kristaps is healthy, Karl Anthony Towns can stretch it out as well. But we can counter that with rebounding and physicality as well. Those guys aren't known for that as well. So you give away a little bit, you can take it back in some other areas as well. Tibbs' centers have he's traditionally gotten by without a floor spacer. If you go back to the Joakim Noahs, you go back to his days in Minnesota, and the success he's had with the New York Knicks. He's never had a floor spacing center, but he's always made it work with the rebounding, and the physicality. As we talked about last show, if you haven't checked it out, we did a big breakdown with the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks, how they match up as well. And obviously, we looked at the rebounding category. The New York Knicks get so many second chance points, opportunities, because we rebound, and that can sometimes give you or make up, compensate for not having a shooting big as well, because you get those points back in other areas as well. Uh, Bing Bong, Randall playing center is not winning basketball. So you're not a fan of any of the small ball with Randall. I do think OG Anunoby would probably be the more preferred small ball five defensively. Offensively, Randall probably on that end. Um, Susan says, I just think when Leon makes that center move, it will be done with the poker face. His every move won't be broadcast. Yeah, you said it. He definitely moves in silence, and I think he will get the best option available. But he's always made trades in the season as well, so that gives you time to evaluate. It gives you time to see what other teams' pieces are needed. Surplus, teams do get desperate throughout the year as well. Like you guys said, we're very stocked at the guard spot, and I think the big man spot, we could maybe do a trade to help another team out and be a win-win as well. Brian says Moses Brown is available. He's 7'2", New York native. Yeah, I've definitely followed closely Moses Brown. We did have him for a cup of coffee Brian, and I think the Knicks didn't really give him an opportunity. I don't know if they'll give him another chance, but he's definitely intriguing. He's tall, he's mobile, he's very long as well. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be more names surface, but the main point of the story is that the New York Knicks are definitely working out guys. Um, and we'll see if they want to use up their final roster spot on a veteran big man, right? There is some other names available in other positions as well, so we'll see. Um, I do feel like, again, what I heard and what I've seen, they do like what they have in terms of Mitch when he's healthy. I think Tibbs likes Precious Achua, and the way he stepped up last season in the trenches, he was able to defend well, he was able to rebound and guard well. He was also very versatile and also durable, was Precious Achua. So that's something that Tibbs likes. Now, Jericho Sims, he'll probably get an opportunity early in preseason as well. He's been working out really heavy this summer, and we'll see if his game has improved. But Ariel Hukporti, we saw some flashes in summer league. The Knicks do like rebounding and his physicality as well. Tibbs was a part of the whole pre-draft process in terms of drafting Ariel Hukporti and the scouts that traveled overseas to see him play as well. So could he hold us down for some spot minutes as the season goes along? We'll see. But it all rests on the health of Mitchell Robinson. If he's healthy and he can give us 28 minutes, then it becomes a lot easier with the other guys picking up the rest of them, those minutes as well. But you continue to get your comments in and your thoughts. Matthias Lasort, Bing Bong says is an explosive center. I wanted him over Achua at the center spot as well. Yeah, so the Knicks definitely spoke to him and his representatives. Another case of the Knicks doing their due diligence. But I think this one was down to finances. I think financially, he was probably looking for something more, right? He's more of a traditional center, although he's still 6'10", not very big, but he can definitely bang like we saw in the Olympics. He's bigger than Yabusele in terms of being a more of a center option as well. David, welcome in. Great to see you. The streets are buzzing. Everyone's smashing that like button, and we're so hyped for this season. It's going to be great. Yep, 34 national games, guys. As we continue to talk about it tonight, the New York Knicks have 15 back-to-backs, 2 West Coast trips that aren't too scary for me as well now that we're in this position, but a lot more national games, which is great, and 5 games in preseason. We'll be able to see these guys compete for camp spots as well. Prezi says that Sims is the best screener on the team. Super athletic with good footwork to stay in front of guys on switches. He just needs more time to develop, just like Deuce. Everyone give him a chance. So Prezi high on Jericho Sims, hoping to prove the doubters wrong. Yeah, he's shown flashes, man. I'll give you that. And I'll give him his flowers. He's shown some flashes that he can do the job at times, but he's inconsistent. That is the problem right now. We are here to win a championship, and we're going all in. And he's going to have a big chance in preseason. It looks like his contract was guaranteed. We'll see. It's a make or break, I feel like, for Jericho Sims. This could be a make or break year for Mitchell Robinson as well. Marvin in the building, good evening, says it's time to trade Mitch. I just saw your comment, as I said before, man. I feel like it's make or break for Mitchell Robinson this season. Everybody knows what he can do when he's healthy and how great he can be defensively. It simply comes down to durability now for us guys, when it's crunch time and we're competing for the Eastern Conference Finals. We're in those battles with Philly and Boston. You need to be durable. You need to be available. And we'll see that could be, highlight further how important the center position is because, right, to have a suitable backup means that you don't have to, run Mitch out there for too much, and overexert him, right? Maybe 25 minutes is the recipe to keep Mitchell Robinson healthy throughout the regular season. And I also understand fully that a lot of the things haven't been Mitch's fault or problem. He came back, he fought. You got to admire his fight, But the Philly series, Joel Embiid, did what he did, and that was, that should have been punished, but it wasn't, right? And a lot of the other injuries have been freak injuries as well, right? So I'm not sold on Jericho, me personally. I'm not sold on Precious Achua being the long-term backup right now. It's makeshift, and also there's significant questions over Mitch's ability to stay healthy as well. When healthy, I've got no doubt that he's our man, as the starting five. But you know, if the Knicks look in other areas, maybe to look at floor spacing and evolving the offense, then I could see a trade being done at some point, right, in the future as well. But as I kind of guessed, I think Omer Yurtseven was a safe option as a vet minimum, but the Knicks have decided to pass on him. So let me know your thoughts as well. Right. I don't think it's going to be something that the Knicks regret. There's other avenues. We'll see. Maybe they do end up swinging a late trade for a Nick Richards. We'll see what happens on that front. But it looks like the Knicks are in the lab and they're definitely getting busy trying to make these, trying to reinforce the weakest part of the roster right now. Um, I simply feel like the best avenue for Sims to be better is to work on his drop coverage, fam, as well. His decision making. He's a bit of a space cadet sometimes in game. He misses the ball. He loses the ball, loses his man as well. But look, that can improve with reps. You need confidence. Once the coach hooks you, then you lose some confidence when you're a young player as well. But as I said, Jericho's 26 now, and the NBA is the NBA. We don't just hand out free spots. You've got to grab it. You've got to grab your opportunities. And there aren't many players drafted at the 58 spot that get 4 years in the league to prove themselves. And here he is, still on coming into his fourth year as well. Right. If Jericho was on maybe another roster in the NBA, he probably would have been cut already. So there is an opportunity here now for him to grab. Right. I'm rooting for him like I do with all players, but he's definitely got to, prove some people wrong, I think. And he has an opportunity now. The Knicks are fully guaranteed his deal. Right. uh, we'll see what else plays out. Uh, I feel like Skapinsev, definitely should be brought into camp, and he's a guy who played well in Westchester. He played well in summer league. Let's reward him with an Exhibit 10 deal. Now, obviously there's a situation where he might be snapped up in Portland. Maybe they've given him a higher guarantee. We'll see how that plays out as well. But like I said, Jericho's contract is now fully guaranteed. So um, you could look at it two ways. You could look at it like the Knicks feel like we're going to give him a chance all season, and he's great depth, and we can't afford to lose him. Or you could look at it like we've guaranteed Jericho Sims' salary now. Now it's tradable salary as well. So which way are you guys looking at it? Like it could go either way. We obviously need the depth at the center spot, no doubt, but he is now $2.09 million in salary that can be traded by December 15, normally when all the other free agents become available to be traded as well. You need that tradable salary. The Knicks can obviously add picks to him and the like. And I'm sure there's some other teams around the league that would be intrigued as well. Like I said, maybe they do value some second round picks if the Knicks do need to attach some extra assets. But for now, I'm going to lean towards that the Knicks want to give Jericho this chance this season, and they need the depth right now. Like I said, if Mitch ain't healthy to start the season, then it's literally Precious and Sims, right, to start. Um, which is why after this Yurtseven workout and the report from Mark Stein, like I said, I'll bring it up again. Once again, if you're just joining us, welcome in. Smash that like button. You've got the Nick Streets buzzing. Um, we'll see. We'll follow closely more reports. Mark Stein is saying that the Knicks have worked out more guys as well. So Yurtseven and among others. So never a stone unturned. The Knicks are getting busy with this, right? And I feel like they would have dropped the ball if we didn't get Skapinsev in for at least in the Exhibit 10, right? He's got a better skill set there offensively than Jericho Sims and Huck Porty. Defensively, he might be a little soft, but I think he can hold us down as, third string, fourth string, right? He's got a nice touch around the basket as well, right? Yurtseven obviously didn't impress them enough, and maybe Skapinsev would be a better option. So we'll see how that plays out. We've got Nelly Nell in the building, rocking out with the best chat in the biz. Kenny Payne, great to see you, old head. Salute. Um, Old head says Yurts probably didn't look any better than Sims and Huck Porty. Yep, you said it. I think that's the best way to look at it, fam. They gave him an opportunity and some other guys, but yeah, to bump somebody off their spot, you've got to be better than them. And maybe Jericho is just looking better in practice right now. Maybe Huck Porty is impressing them as well, right? I'm a part of the Huck Porty hive. I'm not going to hide it because I'm closer to him than others because he played in my city. I saw him up close. I scouted him and saw him live as well. So I've got that. Then some people don't. Having had the chance to see Huck Porty, whether you were impressed by him in summer league or not, I feel like you still got to look at him like he's a young prospect and he's something for the future. He's 22 years old. He's 4 years younger than Jericho Sims. Is Ariel Huck Porty as well, and the Knicks have given him the two-way, so they're going to look at him like we're going to develop you, and maybe to be the next Jericho Sims or the next starting center possibly or backup. Right. Nelly says, salute CT. I'm excited to see what the Knicks do this season. Let's go Knicks. You and me both, fam. Uh, great to see you here. I think this season, right, the regular season is going to be really fun. Really, really fun. I think, we've got leaders. We're not going to take teams lightly, but we're also going to be hungry. And I think we're going to put a lot of teams on notice early and a lot of beatdowns this season, a lot of blowouts, a lot of big wins as well. The schedules come out. Let us know how you feel about it. I gave it a B plus. David says, regardless, in today's game, the bigs just don't get fed, so it doesn't matter what he's working on. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I think even Mitch could get more points if they feed him. Uh, the thing is, there's just so many mouths to feed on offense now. You've got another huge player into the starting lineup with Mikal Bridges. You've got Julius Randle returning as well. He's going to eat as well. He's a mismatch. He's a nightmare for defenses. They have to double him. And there's just a lot of guys. Brunson's, an isolation threat, one of the best in the league as well. I think what I want from the big, is just to keep it simple. And I think Tibbs appreciates the good screen setting, roll hard to the bucket, bring energy when you're out there, gobble up those rebounds and tip backs. I mean, just all of the things that Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitch have done, right? We don't really need to reinvent the wheel because we already established the way we want to play. And the way that the New York Knicks want to play with their big man is pretty clear now, right? They're not going to be getting a lot of shots up. I would like to see them, expand their games a bit, but what they need to do is just the dribble handoff, pick and roll to the bucket hard, and make sure you box out. Get those extra chances as well. Now, I'm not going to lie. I would love to see our offense with a 5-out look. Hypothetically, a player like a Porzingis skill set, somebody like a Jonas Valanciunas who can pop the mid range as well and do all the other things. But right now, that is, the ways to do that, isn't as realistic. I think by the deadline, maybe Jonas Valanciunas is the most obtainable guy. Right now, I'm not buying into the Karl Anthony Towns thing. I think Minnesota look like they're fine. They want to keep things together. They want to try to win this season. I can't see it happening myself personally. I think the Knicks just need to keep, bring these big men in that rebound and do the things that Isaiah did, and I think we'll be fine. Um, J Dub says, we need to make a good pickup, not the desperate pickup. Leon will make a key acquisition at the deadline. Yeah, yeah, I think, like we said, operating with patience. Leon Rose knows what he's doing. We've got one of the smartest front offices in the league, if not the smartest. If they're passing up on a guy, best believe it's because they don't see what they needed to see. It's not that they've dropped the ball in terms of missing out on a guy. This front office knows everybody in the league. They know everyone available. They know free agents as well. They know Yabusele, Lasort. They know all these guys, right? They're not sitting around in the office with their feet up, eating donuts and coffee, right? They're getting to work, and they know what who's out there and what they need to do, and they will continue to do it. Leave no stone unturned as well. We have one of the biggest front offices, not just one of the smartest. Uh, David also says Leon will address any needs the team has as the season plays out. Yep. So we've got KP in the building as well. Salute Kenny Payne. What an off season it's been, guys. As we wind, basically free agency's winding down. We'll see what they do with this final spot and the camp invites. But so far, the off season's been an A for me. We haven't been in this good of a position going back since '99. But the center position, right, is the key spot that needs some attention. We'll see how that plays out as well. But with challenge becomes opportunity to start the season. Our first four games, guys: Boston, Indiana, Cleveland, and Miami. Right, right. Where there's opportunity, where there's the challenge, there's an opportunity. And I think the Knicks can put the league on notice, right, with a win in Boston on ceremony night, and then backing it up against our rival Indiana at home, Cleveland at home, and then Miami in the 305, right? So what a start to the NBA season that is going to be, right? And then after Miami, we hit the road for three more games as well. So little tricky start to the season, but like I said, with the opportunity, I really feel like um, the preseason and training camp, right, is really, really important for this team to establish that chemistry again and the familiarity, right, the cohesion, because Julius missed most of the season. OG only played 26 games. Um, Mikal Bridges is brand new. So Tibbs has got his work, right? He's got work to do. And I think preseason shouldn't be wasted, right? I think we should have a clear plan for preseason, right? The first game or two to give the starters maybe a little bit of minutes, but play the situationals. The second game, you should ramp things up a little bit. The third game of preseason against Mini should be close to the full rotation, right, to get ready for first game of the season. Nelly says getting a starting center similar to iHeart is ideal, which means Mitch can come off the bench to prevent some injuries. That could be something that Leon's focusing on as well. Mitch is on a really good contract. He's a great locker room guy. When he's healthy, he's dominant. Um, I think I love the situation we had where you could, platoon the two, Mitch and Isaiah, half and half. And yeah, you're onto something with that. I think the Knicks and Tibbs will love the same qualities that iHeart brings. Ariel Hukporti is a player similar to iHeart in terms of being a demon on the glass. His motor is super high, his hustle as well. But also at times Jericho has shown us that he has a high motor on the glass as well, and he can set good screens as well. So I think it just comes down to health for now, and the best man will stand up. May the best man win the spot. Um, but right now it's Mitch's spot. We just don't know if he's going to be healthy to start the season. That is the main concern. Now, another added layer to this workout with Yurtseven, right, and potentially Skapinsev, is building relations, right? That is super important, guys, around the NBA in terms of how the Knicks operate as well, right? We work well with other agencies now, and we also give guys opportunities, in terms of workouts and bringing in Yurtseven, right? It could have been a case of working him out and let this report come out via Mark Stein to improve his stock. We could be doing him a favor in terms of, we've worked him out, and we could say, hey, we're going to look at other areas, other guys, and we'll get back to you, you know. And sort of, you scratch your back, I'll scratch mine. I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. And in terms of that, with Yurtseven, he could be a player we revisit, at a later point, right? But we've given him an opportunity, we've worked him out, and now he's, in the headlines. So he might be signing in Europe, he might be signing with another NBA team. We'll see what happens. But like I said, the Knicks work well with relations around the league, right? The Knicks operate like one big family too. And basically, the image of the New York Knicks is so big now. Players want to come here. Things are buzzing, literally in the Mecca. Um, we are going to miss iHeart's ability to pass. Like Vaughan says, it was a key ingredient. Um, J Dub says, I believe our depth can keep us afloat. Mitch's health is frustrating. We need to definitely uh, fix that. Yeah. I think durability, you could say that about every team. It really is, make or break in terms of team success. But the Knicks have some of the best depth in the league, and that's something that Leon Rose has really addressed this offseason. When you look at third stringers specifically, I'm talking about, potentially Kevin McCullough, Campaign, Sims, Hakporty, Keita Bates-Diop, um, Kolek as well could be more ready as the season goes along. The Knicks' third string depth is a lot better than it was last season. So that has been a big tick. Last season it was Daquan Jeffries, Diakite, Jake Toppin, Charlie Brown, Dwayne Washington. So many of these guys that just weren't going to get minutes. Shake Milton as well. A lot of these guys in a pinch, couldn't give you anything. So I think we're in a better position if we are going to sustain some injuries, right? Hopefully we don't, but all you can do is make backup plans right now. And we still have one spot available. So who do we get? Um, Bismack Biyombo, is it another free agent big that we haven't discussed yet? I mean, it could be a surprise. Do we end up getting Skapensev into camp as well? Because I haven't heard of Portland, giving him that deal yet. Um, let us know if you have heard any of the Knicks beat. Let us know. But so far, it looks like he's just posted that on Instagram. He's working out in Portland at the facility too. Salute, Danny. What's up? Great to see you. The streets are buzzing. Uh, I like what Old Head said. Yurtseven, we gave him a chance. Maybe he didn't impress us to the extent where, he's good enough to sign straight away, and have Sims, him, Huckporty, Precious, a lot of these guys. But like I said, Jericho's contract is fully guaranteed, and you can look at it either way. You could look at it like we're going to keep him all season, or you could look at it like that salary could be outgoing because um, to me, there's no point bringing in five centers if none of them can do what you really need, um, right? You may as well trade a couple to get someone that you really do think can do what you need as well, right? Right. Having five guys that all do different things, but none of them to the full extent isn't smart. So Precious is versatile, and right now he can fill in as the backup, makeshift, but it's not something long term. Long term, Jericho or Huckporty need to step up and show us that they can be, depended on. And I would look at preseason and training camp for them to show us, and Tibbs. Uh, right now, Tibbs is in the facility all day. Basically, he's probably chopping up film, and he's probably watching and seeing guys like Sims and Huckporty and these guys in the facility, hone their craft as well. So, yeah, like I said, we do have plenty of bodies, but we'll see how it all plays out, as well. Dope Soul Sports Talk. What's up, Queen in the building? Great to see you. Hope everything is well. Uh, it's so quiet now in this off season, but not for long. Things are going to heat up really soon with training camp. The Knicks are back in South Carolina, back at Charleston to do their training camp as well. I'm really buzzing for media day to hear all these guys and just hear how they're feeling and the conditioning of Julius and Mitch. I think are the two guys that we'll be watching closely the most because Julius is obviously coming off a bigger injury and Mitchell Robinson as well, right? Um, what's up, Humberto? Salute De La Hoz. Just allow Leon Rose to continue to build the team, but only him with no assistance from Twitter or here. I think he's his own man and he will definitely make the right decisions that he feels is best for this team. Um, and I think a good example of that is what I just said, Sims and those guys in the gym, they have first-hand look at these guys. Yes, we saw what we saw in games, but they're young still, a lot of these players, and they're still growing and improving. The facility, though, is where, Tibbs and the front office get their first-hand look at that. Um, Ellen feels like Keita Bates-Diop could be someone that could be on the move. You want to see us use his spot to sign another center as well. I wouldn't be shocked if Keita Bates-Diop doesn't finish the season on the roster. He could be a nice trade chip as well to improve the center spot. But I think for now, I think he's in their plans. I think he is a player who they like in terms of his skill set. Um, but definitely, if you can upgrade your center spot with, giving up marginal players, I think the Knicks would definitely be entertaining that. But we are a little thin at the power forward. That's another problem. You give away Keita Bates-Diop, and then who have you got at the four spot? You've got Precious a little bit, you got Hart, McCullough, a little bit undersized with that. Like I said, Randall's injury. Um, there is a lot to think about. Uh, he's definitely a salary filler as well, like the chat saying too. Guys, you are buzzing. Great to see you all here tonight. Vaughn says, CT, what are your thoughts on Jackson Hayes? Yeah, I've heard his name quite a bit, and I like his ceiling. He's definitely had some challenges in his career so far. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he hasn't been able to be consistent. But there is potential, kind of like a Moses Brown. Um, and then if anyone is a candidate to come into the Knicks and get the most out of them, it could be a guy like a Jackson Hayes. We've got the coaching staff now. We've got Tibbs. We're all business. Some organizations don't have that same stability and same environment as well. So I do feel like the Knicks are the best situation to bring the talent out of someone like a Jackson Hayes. But I don't know if the front office is willing to take that chance right now. I think we might want to go a safer option. We are trying to contend, all of those things, but it'd be high risk, high reward, I think, for me. And look, couldn't be any harm maybe using a camp invite. That's what they're for. And as you see on screen, guys, the Knicks still haven't confirmed any more camp invites yet outside of Chuma Okeke, who was from Orlando. So the Knicks have some options up their sleeve to see. He could be one of them. Um, yeah, he could even be one of those guys that they did work out. It just hasn't come out yet. Um, Basically, as Mark Stein confirmed, there was a workout with Yurtseven among others as well. So um, we'll see how that all plays out. But good name. I like his ceiling and what he can do as well. Um, The thing is, Keita Bates-Diop can play some small ball five as well. He's not as big as a Jackson Hayes, but he's very long too. Um, Also, when I talked about Jericho's salary, I have to include Precious Achua in that, guys, too. Let's talk about that a little bit because Precious was given a $6 million deal, and that is very trade friendly. let's keep it real because it's only a 1 year deal as well. So any team that's looking to give the Knicks what they need, a player like Precious Achiuwa could be an intriguing piece coming back for them as well. The Knicks opted to not give Precious multiple years. Now he loves it in New York. He wanted to stay here, and he wants to stay here long term. One of the reasons for the holdout was that Precious wants multiple years. He wants the place where he can get the most security and know that he's going to be there long term. Players hate being moved around, but 6 million, it was the best deal that he could get. It's a very solid deal for 1 year, and he took it. But right now, if I'm guessing, it's he's going to be a trade candidate. When it gets to the trade season, he might end up staying. He might play so well that he's the one of the answers to our problems. He's a solution. But it's highly likely that Precious Achua's salary will be used, in a potential discussion, with deals and all of that. As Pablo says, one of the names to look out for, Jonas Valanciunas. There's already reports that Washington will be eyeing a deal to send him out after the deadline, to tank and to pick up more losses and play the youth. So that is something to look out for. He's on a very good deal as well, 10 million. So I could see a deal working out with those two as well. I like that pickup, not going to lie. He's 32, so it's not for the future, it's not long term, but it's for the right now. I think a Jonas Valanciunas has been through to the trenches and in the playoff battles. I think he would really help our squad, especially offensively. Um, Bing Bong also says Yurtseven is that guy. Don't know how Leon Rose ain't seeing it. So you're upset, and unfortunately the Knicks didn't, or so far haven't signed him. Um, like I said, maybe the workout didn't go as well. Maybe they just said, let's pause for now and we'll revisit. We don't know yet. It's happened before. Um, I guess just because the Knicks haven't signed him right now. I know that the reports came out that they've passed on Omer Yurtseven, but there was also another report coming out of Europe to say that it's not the end of a potential Knicks Yurtseven deal, right? I think the Knicks are just exploring their options. Uh, Knicks 25-26 champs in the building. Let's go. Hopefully this year is our year and we win it all, right? Step by step. Start from preseason. Let's nail it. Start of the season. Win these first 4 games and then hit our stride as it gets to January. I think we'll be playing our best basketball this season, hopefully with the center situation more clear. Um, I always look at when the Knicks make their decision on a player as well, you always look at what they've done with other teams as well. And for whatever reason, Yurtseven couldn't stay in Miami and he wasn't able to stick in Utah. Although I know Utah's got a lot of other players ahead of him as well. So maybe they just let him go to get an opportunity to. But like I said, my concern is to have 4 or 5 bigs and none of them are the solution, right? They're just eating up roster spots. But for now, we need that extra depth just to start the season because Mitch might not be healthy. I think that is key, but obviously Precious Achua is durable as well. So that is on his side. That is working in his favor as well. Jericho Sims has stayed pretty durable as well, although he hasn't played huge minutes. Ariel Hukporti is coming off basically 18 months after an Achilles. His rehabilitation's gone really well. He's ready for the start of the season, but that is a big injury for a big man to come back off of. And I think we'll probably need to be very cautious with Ariel Hukporti as well. He's on the two-way. I think if we were fully convinced, he would have been on a full deal, but a two-way is a nice way to start as well. So get your comments in. Let us know your thoughts on where we sit, how excited you are for the season after the schedules drop, and this news that the Knicks are working out bigs as well. Um, we've got Jacob Toppin, who's also inked the final two-way spot. Shout out to him as well. Last year on the two-way spot for Jake Toppin, another big year ahead for him. Um, Prezi says Scap might just be working out. How come Leon didn't grab him immediately? If he was a good fit, he would have been locked in last year. Yeah, I think the Knicks have had a good look at Skapinsev. He's 26 as well. Uh, the Knicks like him, I do know that, but basically, they're looking to upgrade, right? And that's no knock on these players. It's just you're always trying to upgrade, you know. There's no need to just settle for something if you can get something better. And I think that's what championship front offices do. You know, they turn, you know, they turn beer into champagne, or a high level product, you know, in terms of that, you got to get the best out of your resources. I think the Knicks are definitely leaving no stone unturned. David says, I don't see an effective big man out there. I say let's get the best player we can for the mid-level, regardless, and flip him at the deadline for a center. I think that would be a very high likeliness outcome. We definitely are going to sign one more player. We don't have to because we are already at the 14 league minimum, so that is good. But we still have one more roster spot available, and we have 5.2 million to spend, David. So I think we'll either, like you said, sign the best player we can, who's very tradable, or we might save the 5.2 at the buyout market and make sure we can outbid some teams when it comes to the buyout market and just sign a veteran minimum guy to start. Maybe a Biombo. Um, I know JaVale McGee seems to be out there as well still. Um, but basically, the Knicks are speaking with their actions. They know that the center position isn't fully insured, and we are still looking at some guys. Um, the motivational tap in says, I just don't trust any of the backup bigs going up against Andre Drummond off the bench. I think there's some validity to that, to your point. I hear what you're saying. I think, there is some size difference between him and Precious Achua. Basically, we're going to see how Sims and Huck Pority look in camp because, well, there's backup minutes for them to win. There really is. I think I'm going to assume that Tibbs wants an upgrade, knowing how Tibbs operates and what he likes to work with. Tibbs definitely wants, a proven veteran, in my opinion. And I feel like, he's always speaking to Leon on the regular. And that ties into what the Knicks are doing with these workouts as well. Um, like I said, Skapinsev gives us a little bit different, but he doesn't give the things that Tibbs really wants, which is hard-nosed defense and rebounding. He does have a softer touch, though, around the basket, and he does have a jump shot, like he's shown. But like the chat said tonight, the Knicks have had a good look at him for many years now, and if they haven't decided to sign him, it's because of a reason. The same way with Yurtseven as well. He's just not what they really look at. Right now. Uh, but like I said, I do know that the Knicks do like Hukpority. I'm sure I know that Tibbs likes Jericho Sims and some of the things he provides too with the rebounding. Does this new big man coach, Mark Bryant, get the best out of these guys? That could be something of a hidden gem where he could unlock some of these young kids in terms of the bigs as well. But with the size, Precious can rebound fairly well. I think we suffer with the rim protection, um, but obviously we'll see if Mitch starts the season healthy. That is a huge relief for us. But how long can you count on him to play major minutes? Um, New Lord says Yurtseven does more than Sims, right? And you wanted us to pick him up. You think Leon has lost his rocker, honestly, with that. Yeah, appreciate your thoughts and you know, you're welcome to feel that way. I don't know how the workout played out. I must admit, I'm a little surprised that we worked him out and nothing's, we decided to pass. Clearly, we are looking to sign a reinforcement, but obviously, I just got to trust what they thought, what they saw. They just didn't see what they needed to see in him to knock one of these other dudes off their spot. Um, like I said, there's already a lot of money invested in some of these other guys. You have to be better than them to knock them off as well. Buzzer Beater's in the building. What's going on, fam? Great to see you. How you doing? Appreciate you and reaching out to me in the comments as well. Um, like I said, guys, I'm on the road for another week, but this time next week I'll be back home in the studio as well, and yeah, we'll be doing some more content. We'll always be reacting to major news as well. So make sure you like and subscribe and smash that like button, and also give me your thoughts on this situation, right? Now, what we're doing now, what we're discussing is basically the weakest part of the roster, but that's normal, right? Even a championship squad and fans of a championship team still have things that they're not happy about, right? It's perfectly healthy, right? If you talk to a Boston fan, I'm sure they'll be able to tell you things about their team that they don't, they're not sure about or they're not confident about. Boston did get lucky. Indiana did choke. Now, Boston was the better team, but Boston did choke. I mean, Indiana did choke a couple of those wins away, man. Boston it could have been 2-2 easily. They could have even been down 3-2, right? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they have a tendency to go in and out of games and go missing and not be physical like they need. And that's where I think the Knicks have an edge, right, with our physicality. When you look at the wing spot with OG and you look at Julius Randle at the power forward, right, they're more physical than Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. If you look at the center position, when healthy, Mitchell Robinson is more physical than Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford as well. But where Boston have an edge is obviously the perimeter game with the likes of Drew Holiday, Derek White, and obviously Porzingis shooting the threes as well. So the Knicks could be looking at when they're constructing their roster in this final center position, they could be looking at Boston as well as how we match up best in terms of guarding KP when he's healthy. All these other guys, we're going to beat these other teams. I'm not worried about Orlando yet. I'm not worried about Cleveland. I'm not worried about Indiana when we're healthy. It's Philadelphia and it's Boston. But when you're matching up against KP, Mitchell Robinson isn't the best matchup, is it? He's always struggled on the perimeter. So if you have a smaller big man like a Precious Achua or OG guarding fives, that could be the best matchup against Boston. Against Philadelphia, size matters, and that one. Mitchell Robinson is the best matchup for a Joel Embiid, no doubt about it. With that one, he outplayed Isaiah Hartenstein in terms of that matchup on Embiid. But Embiid has to prove that he can stay healthy. Um, yeah, Pablo, we've got Washington's draft pick. We've got some picks that we can play with. We'll see how it all plays out. David says Huck Porty will end up in the center rotation by the end of the season. I'm calling it now as well. I could see that happening. I could see a pathway to that as well. I'm very high on Huck Porty. He's got the experience from playing at the pro level, but at the NBA level, he just has to prove it now. He's 22. Um, I wouldn't depend on him early in the season, but we'll see how it plays out. Um, with guys, on this roster, training camp is a clean slate. That's the way I would look at it. If I'm Tibbs, I'm coaching this team. I'm saying reputations count for nothing, right? We're trying to win a championship. Prove to me that you can, earn these minutes, right? If your name's Jericho, Huckporty, Precious, Mitch, doesn't matter right now. Keita Bates-Diop could earn the backup 4 minutes. Kevin McCullough might have an outstanding training camp and show that he could play some backup 3 and 4 spot as well. So, basically you eat what you kill. Like we said, I think that was the theme of training camp like 3 years ago. I think it's a perfect time to look at it this way. Obviously, the starting five is that's penciled in stone. That's nailed in. But the backup minutes is up for grabs for any of these guys. Also, closing minutes. Uh, Brian also agrees on Hukpority, high ceiling as well. You like what you saw in Summer League. Um, I think he's a Tibbs centre. Um, Trey says Sixers sign Yabusele. If they can use that 5.2, it may be Covington. Yeah, that's a good name. I think we're pretty good at the wing spot though. But he is a player that I think we could probably get for the minimum. I think if we're looking at the 5.2, maybe a Coro, Shamit, Lonnie Walker, or a Davis Bertans. But one thing that's quite clear, guys, is that we haven't spent it yet. So clearly we're keeping it. We're stewing over it and we're keeping it close to our chest. Otherwise, we would have spent it. There was reports about interest in Davis Bertans, weeks ago, even over a month ago, but we still haven't signed him yet. So you got to think like, is he holding out for free agency for a bigger deal, and then he might end up taking it. We'll see. Um, but right now, I feel like the Knicks will add one more spot, and we should spend that 5.2 million because it's tradable. If we're looking at December, we could easily swing that deal for Jonas Valanciunas if Washington is a go. Uh, Prezi says agree CT. I'm just saying whoever these options, what we've been talking about, they would be on the team. Yurtseven would be signed to the MLE if he was so poppin'. Yep. Uh, Kamelo says it's now or never for Sims. Concentrate on your defense so you can stay on the court. Yeah, I agree with you. That's a good one. Um, Jericho can do some nice things. He can play above the rim. He can set great screens. I think it's been consistency on D that has sort of lost his minutes with Tibbs, too. But like I used the example before, man, when you're the 58th pick and you've already had 4 years in the league, that's a pretty good opportunity. There are players drafted in the 30s that are out of the league, the 40s that are fighting for their spot. I mean, Kevin Knox was a lottery pick. He's fighting for his life in the NBA. Frank Ntilikina is now out of the NBA. So this is make or break for Jericho Sims. But I think one thing that's kept Jericho Sims in the league is that he can do some things that not of a lot of other bigs can do in terms of the athleticism, the mobility on D, switching, and also the ability to play above the rim and rebound and set screens like he does. Um, but yeah, Covington, I feel like his best days are past. He hasn't been um, factoring into heavy minutes on a lot of teams, so we'll see how that plays out moving forward. But he is a name that I think I could see Tibbs liking. Fam, Dorkosaurus Rex is in the building. What's up, guys? Salute. Great to see everyone popping in the chat. Um, Also was looking at some of these other names. Mook Morris looks like he might be going to Cleveland or Philly even. Jetty Osman is still out there. Doug McDermott. One player I know that Tibbs would love a reunion with is that Reggie Bullock. And it probably doesn't make as much sense as it does now because we're so deep at the wing spot. But I do know, a year or two back, Tibbs did want Reggie Bullock back on the New York Knicks as well. Reggie Bullock is super super tight with Julius Randle as well. Those guys are close. So, I don't know the contract situation of Reggie Bullock as well, but we could do a lot worse than him as third string depth if there is an injury. Um, but yeah, he's an end of the bench kind of guy right now. Um, so we'll see how it plays out. Dorkosaurus says we fumbled with Scap. It was a mistake to pick Toppin over him for that last two-way spot. Um, I'm not fully sure if Scap was eligible for a two-way. I know the two-way spots have an age requirement or an age limit. Skapansev's 26 now, so he might not have qualified in terms of years years in the league. Um, in fact, I don't think it has an age limit, but I think it has a like a tenure limit in terms of how long you've been in the league. What's up, Bob? Salute. Um, Knicks 25 champs is figuring out what is going to happen with Randall is priority over signing a borderline NBA level center situation. Right. The Randall thing is what it is right now. He's under contract. He's a big part of the starting unit in this team moving forward. Contractually, we all know the date. We all know the timeline. The sides haven't, inked any deal yet. But I think this season is going to, basically dictate what happens, you know, and how far this team can go. But definitely, I think that is going to be a huge talking point throughout the rest of the season. Buzzer Beater says 2 second-round picks for Jonas. As it comes, it'd probably be the salary and a couple of picks, maybe Precious Achua, maybe one of the mid-level guys that we could sign. Dorkosaurus says, what about Kai Soto, who's overseas right now? He's still quite raw. We're a championship kind of team. I feel like he might he might get into the league later in his career, but I think he has to work his way back. He's still raw. He has to show that he can stick. Um, Susan says Leon Rose is not going to be put into a rush move. He's a chess player, patient, and doing what he does so well has given the Knicks more depth than ever. So in Rose, I trust. Yeah, you and me both, Susan. With that said, executives can make mistakes. I mean, you could be perfect. You could be um, a really really good executive and still still miss some picks and still miss out on some guys. But where we sit right now, we're the most healthiest in terms of the roster situation that we've been in since '99, in my opinion. And the reason for that is the patience. A lot of the things that he hasn't done has really benefited the Knicks as opposed to the things that he's done. Um, um, New Lord says Tibbs wants Bruce Brown, but he's not on the team. Thank you. With that situation, yeah, I think he's got his mini Bruce Brown. He's got Kevin McCullough now as well, and he's got Josh Hart, and obviously a Mikal Bridges OG. So yeah, we're straight in that situation. Prezi says, do you believe Sims will become a better player with more consistent minutes and a role, or do you believe he shouldn't be in the league? Right? Is he another bust pick? Um, I wouldn't call it a bust pick because I think you're playing with house money when you're the 58th pick. Um, that said, if he doesn't end up sticking with the Knicks, I will look at it like it's a missed opportunity because I do feel like Jericho Sims has skills to be in the league. Um, it's just getting, can they get that out of him? The consistency on defense. Um, he can play a little bit of the four spot as well. If he can work on his mid-range J and a jump hook as well, right? It's a big thing to eat up a lot of space and not have a jump shot. So I think Jericho does need a little bit of an offensive move to keep him in the league. Defensively, I think he'll improve as his career goes. Players do start to read the game better. They have to want to work hard though, you have to put in the work, watch film, do everything that you can to improve your game. Ultimately, if a player, doesn't fulfill their potential, but they can look at themselves in the mirror and they can say that they did everything possible to work on their game, then so be it. Um, But yeah, I do think we're talking about the center position because it is the area of the roster that needs the most attention. But is it at a dire level? No. I think, like I said at the top of the show, uh, I do stress that the Knicks like who they have. They like the position they're in, but they also understand that there is a opportunity to upgrade, right? You could say this about most teams, but any injury and you're really in a tough spot, but they do like who they have, right? They wouldn't have signed Precious Achua to 6 million if they thought Omer Yurtseven was better, you know. They would have signed Omer Yurtseven if they didn't think, someone else on the roster was better than him. So I'm going to trust that. Um, but that said, they could get it wrong. There is guys out there that can bounce on another team, and they could really make the most of that opportunity. But one thing I like about the Sims situation is its final contract year, guys. So a player does not need any more motivation than to be in the final year of their deal with an uncertain future, right? We're talking about huge generational money, multiple millions a year. Sims is going to come in this season as hungry as possible because, what lies ahead is an NBA future and a guaranteed deal. Now he's got this season guaranteed, but now the rookie contract's over, right? The honeymoon period is over when a player's rookie contract is finished, right? A team has to want to part with bread, with real money, to keep you on their team, right? And with all these aprons and restrictions on the salary cap, teams aren't just going to be giving out roster spots like candy anymore now, right? You have to really earn it. So I think, this season it's going to be big in terms of, these guys competing for minutes. I also mentioned Precious. He's competing for an NBA future because he's on a 1 year deal as well. And he probably feels like he did enough to earn a multiple year deal, right? And I think probably he would have on another team. He probably would have got a multiple year vet minimum deal, but he obviously took the 1 year 6 million because it's better. You know, what are you going to choose? 2 years at a vet minimum for 2 or 3 million per for 2 years, or are you going to choose the 1 year for 6 million? You're going to choose the 1 year, but there is less stability in the future for that, as well as being in the league for 2 years. So yeah, we'll see what plays out. I think Precious can be a fine backup early in the season. There's only a handful of matchups that I think could hurt the Knicks um, with size. Everyone else doesn't play as big at the backup spot. You look at the Warriors. They played Draymond Green heavily in those lineups as well with the backup spot. Um, if Precious is getting manhandled, then we do have bigger bodies as well. We'll see what happens with Huck Porty and Sims moving forward. But this ain't finished yet because Leon Rose is still working players out and he's looking at ways that he can, fortify the roster even further. And we'll see. I feel like it'd be wise to get a player who could play 4 or 5. And then if it's a 5, you could push Precious back to the 4. We'll see how that all plays out. Um, but yeah, Cree Lawson's channel. Yeah, that's what I'm here to talk about with today, the bigs. I think everything else is really, really, really strong on this roster, and especially the third string level guys as well. So yeah, it's been a great stream. We'll get ready to wrap this thing up. I'll be back live when there's breaking news or in the next few days. Um, Great to have you with us. Stop by tonight on the live and also replay squad as well. Shout out, smash that like button if you've enjoyed the show. And we'll be talking about the camp battles moving forward and minutes allocation as well. I want to get into the ideal minutes rotation because I do think it'll probably start as a 9-man rotation. I think 10 men on situations, but I think Tibbs will like his 9-man rotation and guys that he can depend upon because early it's a tough start to the season. As I bring it up, October, the first 4 games of the season, it's basically a welcome to the league, welcome to the championship window right now. Boston, Indiana, Cleveland, and Miami, right? You can't afford to start the season, you know, basically coasting. You have to take it super serious, and I think we will. We've got leaders, veterans now, but let's pray for great health because if Mitch and Julius are healthy to start opening night, then that is headaches for the other team, right? Because we are going to be super physical. Great options offensively. I think we'll have a great preseason and figure out the chemistry for these guys. But Corey Lee's in the building. Salute. Great to have you with us. Stop by and let's get it on the next one. Uh, Catch up on the replay if you've just joined us. We talked about the news and the workouts and why the Knicks haven't signed Omer Yurtseven and what else might lie ahead as well. But once again, congrats to Jalen Brunson, who is now a father as well, and his partner Ali. Monica McNutt got married as well. Congrats to her and her partner. Shout out as well. Um, Shout out to you guys, of course, as always, the best fan base in the biz, um, most knowledgeable, most passionate fans there are in all of sports. New York Knicks Nation as well. You walk around proud to be a Knicks fan as well. Uh, and there is no other team like the New York Knicks. And orange and blue skies, guys. Peace, health, happiness, blessings, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.